Hello there, Quicksilver Slash, bringing you a World of Warships game today. Today I'm featuring a viewer submission from Neogenex along with his division mate RNGspot. They're playing on straight in a standard battle, and as you can see, the new matchmaking has come into effect. There's only a one-tier spread now at tiers 3 and 4, which for these two is really going to help them because they're big ships. So Neogenex is driving the Arkansas Beta, which I featured in my teamwork video about a week ago, and I love this ship. It in almost every way is identical to a fully upgraded Wyoming with a few key differences. Its turrets turn a little faster but have a little worse dispersion, and it's got no anti-aircraft fire. But that won't be an issue for Neogenex in this battle as there's no aircraft carrier. So you can see off the start he's heading to the northwest, keeping his guns ready to fire at anything RNG spots for him. And you can have some amazing teamwork with a DD and battleship. The DD can push out, keep enemy destroyers and cruisers from getting too close and becoming too effective. And the battleship can support the DD wrecking anything he spots. And you're going to see a bit of that this game. So playing on this map in a standard battle can be quite interesting. You'll see a lot of times the team that spawns closer to the enemy base instantly just runs towards the own cap. I don't think that's the correct way to play. I think, as in this case, the team that spawned in the south near the enemy cap needs to engage at that enemy base. You can't let them push out from there. You have to try to fight and hold them. You can't overcommit, because you will get wrecked. Typically the numbers aren't in your favor, but just running away through the narrow channels to the north or the south doesn't do any good. So as Neogenex got spotted there, he did a big turn. He's waiting to take a shot at that enemy Isakaze. As he disappears, he fires, but doesn't look like he got anything. And it's important to note too, with the new patch, everyone now has situational awareness. For some, this is just a bonus because it was a skill they already took. But for others, it means they're now going to have a skill they didn't normally have. And they're going to know when they're detected. And it's going to make it a little harder for stealth destroyers, I think, because, you know, there's a lot of battleship captains out there who believe that they didn't really need situation awareness because, hey, I'm a battleship, 17, 18 kilometer detectability. I'm just going to assume I'm always detected. I personally have put situational awareness on everything already because when I'm driving off on an edge of a map and I suddenly get spotted, I know there's a destroyer or fairly stealthy cruiser making his way past me inside my concealment circle, which can be quite useful, and I've caught some destroyers a number of times trying to sneak around and get at my aircraft carrier. Right now you can see Neogenex trying to hit a St. Louis, and I've always had issues with St. Louis's, particularly when driving battleships, because I never know whether to fire AP at them or HE. You can see he just hit him with one shell and it was overpen. And I find either I get overpens or kind of lackluster damage, and it's just that bunkered design of the St. Louis part of what makes it so strong, and it's got that deep hit point pool that I think makes it better than the tier 3 American battleship, the South Carolina. So already, less than 4 minutes into this game, Neogenex's team is down by one ship. They've lost 2 cruisers to the enemy's 1 destroyer, and I think that's going to continue to change pretty quickly here because you can see a lot of Neogenex's friendlies really over pushing in the south. That Miyogi is getting pinched between a pair of Arkansas Betas and a St. Louis, and the Phoenix is also pushing in right behind him, as is a friendly cruiser that also just bit the dust. And this is what you have to be careful of when pressing the enemy cap, is you can't get overzealous. You have to hold back, and his team's gotten a little too confident, and I think it's really costing them early on here. Luckily, the Myogi realized he was pretty screwed, turns in, going for the ram, at least ensuring he takes out an equal tier battleship with him. It was reckless for him to be there in the first place, but he made the most of it, and unfortunately, I think this Phoenix is going to be quick to join that Myogi on the bottom of the ocean. Meanwhile, RNGspot's just doing his circles, staying out of detectability, putting torpedoes into the water. And that's what he needs to be doing. If he were to try to drive up and get too aggressive, he'll get spotted and the cruisers will make short work of him. Now there's going to be players out there who would criticize Neogenex for what he's doing right here. He's turning away rather than turning in and going, full YOLO to support that Phoenix. And often it can be tempting to try to support the friendly player. You don't want to leave an ally out alone. But when they kind of overcommit like that, by going to help them, you're just risking your own chances. And Neogenex at least gets revenge there, getting his first kill, and he's just over 16,000 damage. But look at the team scores. They only have 5 ships left, the other team still having 8. This is not looking good, and you can see the enemy in the north already pushing into their cap with only a destroyer and friendly Wyoming to defend. And I wish I had replay from the north to show what happened up there, because something drastic had to have happened for a superior number of ships to just fold like that. And what I think you're going to see a bit of here is he engages this Karlsruhe is that worst dispersion. I believe it's 180 meter dispersion on these main batteries. And he's aiming pretty good, or pretty well, I should say. That one was a little far forward, but the rounds aren't hitting where he would love them to go. And unfortunately, it looks like RNGspot just got spotted by that Karlsruhe. He threw all his torpedoes at him, and none of them are going to connect. And that has to hurt. So it's right now that these two need to make, oh my god, massive hit. 2 Citadels on that St. Louis. Holy crap. Well, he's not feeling so smart. But back to what I was saying, is right now that these two have an important decision to make. Generally, when you're outnumbered, you want to stick together to consolidate your fire. But that's not really going to be an option. With their base being captured, the one remaining friendly battleship running away from it getting chased by a destroyer, Neogenex and RNGspot have to make the decision, and it's going to be to split up. A lot of times that's not the wise choice, but Neogenex just doesn't have the speed to try to keep up and make it back to his cap. Whereas RNGspot in that really quick Japanese destroyer can get up there, keep stealth, and hopefully reset the cap before they lose this game. It's already getting close to half captured, and it's not looking good for these 3 remaining ships, especially since that enemy Wyoming up there is about to get wiped out by that Wix. Though it looks like his secondaries finish the Wix off before he eats those torpedoes. And it's right here that a enemy Isakaze suddenly shows up, and Neogenex fired that one remaining turret. He fires again, and just look at that dispersion. It's biting him in the butt. He's got to start turning hard, and the turrets can almost keep up to it on the Arkansas Beta. On the Wyoming, they would be falling behind. On this ship, it's a little more reliable. And you can see he just empties the barrels, not leaving it to chance, making sure he wipes out that enemy destroyer. But sadly, it looks like he couldn't turn soon enough. and he eats one of those torpedoes, losing valuable health points. With the enemy having superior numbers and that enemy Wyoming being on full health, you really wish you didn't eat that torpedo. But at least he got the kill. And he's gonna work on this Karlsruhe, who's firing AP back at him. And I think that's a mistake by the Karlsruhe. I really feel this kind of range against a battleship and the guns the Karlsruhe has, HE would be the far superior choice. Try to start those fires and let the fires do the damage for you rather than using AP. So it's right now that Neogenex and RNGspot split up. You can see there's an enemy battleship in the cap. The destroyer that had been there left, I think, kind of doing a no-cap, kill-all mentality, which gave the time for RNG to start heading up there. And I'm actually going to swap and follow RNG for a bit here, because really all Neogenex does right now is play a smart game. He keeps his armor angled to the enemy ships, he fights a running battle, keeping the majority of his turrets firing and just putting out more damage than he takes. But it's RNGspot that's really going to be a key to this game right now, because with the base 3/4 capped, he is the answer. And a bit of disaster strikes there. Enemy Svetlana spotting RNGspot. Luckily that enemy Wyoming missed, and RNG is able to get into cover before that Svetlana can really start to empty on him. He puts his gun to good use, chipping away at those valuable cap points before using some torpedoes to try to get the kill. Now RNG is in a really tough situation here, because that Svetlana is very quick. You can see he turned north from his last spotted location and is probably going on the hunt, and the Svetlana is a very fast low-tier cruiser. But look at those torps on the Wyoming. It looks like he's going to get a massive hit. 5 torpedoes hitting the Wyoming, wiping him out, and that pulls back a massive hit point pool differential between these two teams. RNG throws some torps at the edge of land there. Always a smart play. If you're being chased by an enemy ship, just put your torpedoes at the edges of land. Odds are you may hit someone trying to sneak around, hug the land, keep himself concealed. Meanwhile, you can see in the south that Karlsruhe is almost done. Neogenex has managed to hold on to the majority of his hit points. And it looks like his guns just aren't behaving down there. That Karlsruhe turning and running and gonna get away. And you can see this battle in the north is about to become a close quarters affair. The Svetlana's already fired off a set of torps, but oh no, there's another set. But what happened there? I think that may have been a replay bug. I'm guessing the torpedoes were actually launched significantly further back, but due to the range from Neogenex, the recording wasn't quite right. But anyways, RNG got the kill, and these guys are pulling it back. Neogenex is starting to work on that Arkansas beta, and RNG has made quick work of the 2 ships up here in the north and is going to come back, and he's going through the cap making sure it's defended. So now we're snapping back to Neogenex to watch this fight with the Wyoming. Now, when you see 2 battleship players get into a sub 10 kilometer brawl, that's where you really start to figure out who the better player is. That Wyoming's just sailing broadside on continuously. You can see Neogenex is much better angled, and he's only exposing his side momentarily to let those rear turrets fire and then getting back nose in. And he's given up about 5,000 hit points and knocked over half of that Wyoming's health off. Another hardy hit, just missing the Citadel, I'm guessing. One penetration, one over pen, but look at the damage he's put out, 90,000, and the game is far from being over. You can see RNGspot in the north going to that last spotted cruiser location, as Neogenex unloads another massive volley, but doesn't get much damage. Meanwhile, RNG is putting gunfire into that Karlsruhe, trying to finish that low health cruiser off, and it looks like he played a bit of Ring Around the Rosie with the remaining enemy St. Louis, I believe it was. Yes, St. Louis, as their cap is once again under threat. And look at that enemy Wyoming. He's just driven himself into the wall, I think completely unaware that his engines are getting sapped of their power. He's not even turning. I think he's just trying to run away right now and maybe hold on for a draw, because that is becoming a very real threat right now. Because of how long the enemy team has held their cap, they haven't been amassing the same number of points as the enemy team. And if they don't finish off or cap this game out, they're going to lose this. But I'm going to snap back to RNG as he is up here, whoa, in the north. And that St. Louis is on low health. You see RNG puts his gun to use, no sense waiting to try to use torps. Gets the kill, dodges the shots, leaving just this enemy Wyoming who's down to 8,000 hit points. And just look at the spread. He's right at the edge of the range, and out of every single gun he fired, only 2 shells hit. This is also somewhere I would question Neogenex's choice, because one of the unique things about the Arkansas beta in Wyoming is the HE does almost identical amounts, if not more, damage than the AP. And until right now, when the Wyoming start to gave his side, I think HE could have been the better choice. But let's go to post-game and look at the result. Unfortunately, I only have this one screen. It's all he had saved. 308,000 credits, 3,400 experience, 672 free XP, a high caliber, 105,000 damage, 2 citadels, 3 kills, with RNGspot getting, I believe, 4. The two of them really carried this game. And it shows a second side of teamwork, which is splitting up. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but in the situation they were in, trying to stick together just wasn't an option. And I also admit I was horribly wrong on the damage. The AP does 8,300 maximum. The HE does 4,200. I don't know if that was changed since the last time I read it or closed beta. I don't know. I was horribly wrong on it, and I apologize for that. But I really enjoyed watching this game. You saw how 2 completely different ships can work together to have a positive result. Just because one guy's in a battleship doesn't mean the other in the division has to run it. And often I find bringing a diverse group of ships in a division much more useful than everyone hopping in a battleship, because if you do decide to stick together, if you don't push and really utilize your massive firepower as a group of, say, 3 battleships, your team will probably lose. And I've experienced that playing with my friends, to the point where we basically all will bring something different. It's why when I've shared those replays, you'll see, me in a battleship, a buddy in a destroyer, and the other in a cruiser. It makes a more effective battle group, and you can do more and perform better in more situations. For example, in this battle, I'm sure RNG could have had an amazing game driving an equal battleship or cruiser, but had he not been in a fast destroyer like he had been, this game would have been a loss. And these two just recognized the situation, did what they had to do, and Neogenex held on and just took that beating to allow RNG to go reset the cap, kill those ships up there, and really walk away with the game. I had a lot of fun watching this. I'd like to thank Neogenex and RNG for giving me this great game and letting me put it up here on YouTube to share with all of you. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll have another video for you tomorrow.